What's going on, YouTube? Chris here with My Home Theater. Got a brand new video for you today. I want to have a little discussion on cables. I've been giving it a lot of thought. Seen a lot of videos since I've been back in the home theater on cables. I know years ago when I was back in, when I was in home theater real heavy, I always thought that if you wanted good cables, you had to spend a whole lot of money on them. And that's what I did. I know back when I had a full THX system, I went out and bought THX speaker wire. I bought the Monster THX cables. It was Monster THX speaker wire also. But I just spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on cables. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure cables, if you spend a lot of money on them, they're good. I know also you're going to get what you pay for. So I guess there's a fine line between getting a good cable and a bad cable, paying a lot of money, paying a little bit of money. I know as consumers, we have to be smart in this thing, especially in home theater. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts and what I've used since I've been back. I'll show you some cheap stuff that I've bought, and I'll show you some of the things that I'm using now. One of the first things I want to show you is for my daughter's. I bought her a DVD changer, Pioneer and Sony, and I can't remember what other manufacturer used to make like 300 disc, 200 disc, 400 disc DVD and Blu-ray changers back in the day. They don't really have those anymore, but I bought her a Pioneer one off of Goodwill, and it had component video cable. So I went out and bought, just a kind of cheap cable I can buy, and this is it. I got it from Best Buy, and you see the fronts on it. It's not a bad cable. I don't know. I might have paid $20 for it. I can't remember, but I would rate this as a cheap cable. And I know if you look online, there's other cables that you can buy, and maybe within the same price, that could even be better. I didn't really look. I just went and got something, first thing I found. And, you can buy different name brands at like Best Buy, especially if they have a Magnolia theater in there, and you can just spend hundreds of dollars on it. And I wasn't going to do that for not no more than what it is. But to me, like I say, that right there is a cheap cable. It's a good cheap cable, but it's not something that I would, recommend if you got a nice system and stuff. That's just my opinion on that. I'm just looking through some old cables and stuff I have. I don't even remember where this came from. It's an HDMI cable. I don't even know what the gigabits on it is. Just a cheap cable. You can get cheap HDMI cables. You can get high-end HDMI cables. You can spend hundreds or even up to thousands of dollars on cables. I know back in the day, a few years ago, more than a few years ago, I bought Samsung. It was 3D TV. It was the curved TV, and had to have a high-end cable. So I bought a Monster, don't even remember, THX high-end cable. I think I spent about $130 on that cable. Was it a good cable? Yes. Did I need to spend that much on it? I don't know, because I don't have an example of the cable that I use now. But I've got some Monster cables that I've just picked up from Walmart. I know Black Friday, they had some Monster cables that light up on the end. I think I paid like $7 for them. And they do 4K, they do 3D. Matter of fact, it's hooked up on my receiver in this very room right now. That's what's running from my 4K player to my receiver. Paid $8 for it. It's a Monster. It's got the gigabits, can't remember, 21 point something. I don't know. But anyway, it's a good cable, and I didn't pay a whole lot of money for it. Now, the cable that I'm using from my projector to my screen is a 50-foot. It may be a black web, And it's also a Walmart brand. Hey, I ain't got a problem with it. It does good. And I think I paid $35 for that cable. So did I have to spend $100, $200, $300 to get a good cable? I could have, but I didn't. That's my choice. But I'm just giving you examples of what I've done, and it's worked, and it's working. I hadn't had any issues whatsoever. So, off of a recommendation for audio cables, RCA cables, I watched a video that Youth Man did, and he brought up monoprice cables, RCA cables. So I needed some for my amp because I use my receiver as a preamp. So I got like 4 amplifiers, running 11 channels. So I said, let me try monoprice. So I picked up these cables. These are some ones that I just got in. That's a 6-foot cable. I think I paid like $8 for it. That is a very good cable. I'm using some right now on all my equipment. I'm actually using them for subwoofer cables, and they are phenomenal. Monoprice. I know Monoprice makes good stuff, and they won't break the bank, not on their cables and stuff. So I'm really pleased with them. That's a 6-foot. That's a 1.5 feet, and I didn't pay a whole lot of money for. I think both of these cables are like $16, $17, and I bought them off eBay, but they were through Monoprice. Monoprice has a little site on there, and that's why I bought them. And hey, they work good. And speaker cable. Well, let me show you this. This is a cable that I bought off eBay. It was a while back, and I used it for it's an RCA cable. I wouldn't recommend anything like this. It does work. I didn't have an issue, but if you see anything like that, they don't hold up well on the front. These little tabs, they get bent real easy. I don't like them. I've used them. They work pretty decent, but it ain't something that I recommend. Speaker cables. You can spend a lot of money on speaker cables. And so when I got back into this thing, I started researching. I knew I had a lot of footage I want to run. I had a lot of just room. Even now, I got probably 300 foot of speaker wire run. And I reused some of it that I had in here before. So what I did, I said, I know I got long runs. You can run 14 gauge, you can run 12 gauge, you can run 16 gauge. I don't know what the recommendation is for long runs, but what I did is I bought 12-2 because I wanted a heavy duty cable, and so I wouldn't have any issues later on down the road. So what I did is I looked on eBay, and I found a 250 foot spool of Inwall rated. Here it is. You can buy different types. You can go on Amazon and buy some, but I bought a 250 foot 12-2 Inwall rated. And at the time, I think I paid $28 for it. You can't beat that. And that's what it looks like on the end. It's 12 gauge. Good cable. And I think now it's went up a little bit more now. So I think it's about close to $35. But it's a good cable. I really like this. So when I upgraded to this room, I reused a lot of this cable on my fronts because I will be running higher wattage. I actually went to 10 gauge. I run 10-2 on my front 3 speakers. Speaker connectors, we can talk about that too while we're here. These are some that I like. They're Nakamichi. I think I'm saying that right. Nakamichi. I just picked them up. I don't even remember what I paid. It wasn't a whole lot of money for like 20 of them. And that's what I like about it. You can put them on and say, well, I forgot to put the sleeve on. The sleeve goes on this way. Screws in, tighten them up. These are wonderful. I love these little banana clips. They look nice. And it wasn't a whole lot of money, and that's what I use. And this was just extra cable that I had laying around. But guys, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I mean, you can spend a lot of money on cables, and they may be good. I haven't used any high-end cables other than back in the days, what I always call way back in the days, 6, 7 years ago. I used high-end, and 20 years ago I used high-end stuff, you know, paying $100 and something for a cable. To me, that's high-end. I mean, you know, you're talking about a 3-foot cable spending $150 for, that's pretty high-end to me. But I know now you can buy cables just thousands of dollars and stuff. If you can do that and it works for you, that is wonderful. But for me, I'm showing you what I'm using. I use monoprice RCA cables. I'm using, and I don't even know what the name of the speaker cables are, and they work fine. Hadn't had not one issue out of it. There's no noise. I mean, the noise floor in this theater is zero. There is no noise. There's no buzzing. I have zero sound. I can crank the amps up. I can crank the receiver up. There's nothing. I mean, it's fine. Hey, if I bought high-end cables and hooked it to it, maybe it'll sound better. I don't even know. But I just wanted to talk about cables. I hope I covered everything. If you got any questions or anything that I didn't cover, hey, drop a comment below. Tell me what your thoughts are on high-end cables or cables, what kind of cables you're using. If you like this type of content, hey, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you again real soon.